walking my father's dog tonight on a return trip home from college. His house backs up to the woods. There's a path back there that leads to the park a mile away on the other side, and beyond that, behind the chain link fence, lies an abandoned military depot. No one was supposed to know about it, but hey, you put up fences and kids will try to cross them. Another border of the depot ended right by the football field of the high school. There, on the other side of the bleachers, was a discolored water tower from another era. Every senior used to dare one another to climb and tag it, but somehow the rusted hunk of junk remained unpainted. No, it wasn't from the outstanding police work of the community. Hell, that's lacking. It was because everyone was too chicken to climb the ladder. And as with all fears, it did not come without foundation. One sunny day on the 6th of June, teachers had become lax in their duties when a student named Beth was pressured into climbing the ladder by a gaggle of cheerleaders. She'd always wanted to fit in with the clique. A particularly annoying one told her with a smirk,
"Go tag the tower, then maybe we'll talk."
And so Beth did. Or at least she tried. She made it higher than anyone else. On the 66th rung of the ladder, the rusted step had fallen out beneath her. Many students reported seeing her fall from their respective classrooms. The authorities said she would have broken her neck upon impact. But, as they searched the area where she should have been, at least sprawled out paralyzed, there was nothing to be found. No body to recover. The overgrown vines and grass were unperturbed, leaves waving gently in the breeze. Of course, you tell some snot-nosed freshman a story like this, and he's practically pissing his pants. No, not in fear, but to climb the tower. That's the power it holds, looming as an unconquerable symbol right outside a building built on pubescent bad decision-making. And so, it continued every June 6th, or at least every third year, when the fresh meat arrived, and they had put the tragedy behind them. Another young blood would try to surmount that 66th rung. Always, it would end in the students looking out their windows, tracing the fall with their eyes in slow motion, turning their heads and covering their eyes before the impact. It would always end in a disappearance. Another runaway, is what the cops said. Teachers appeared to have a 3-year rotation as well. Not many of them stayed long enough to be tenured. There it was, a perpetually young educational structure next to one water tower that was eternally aging. I'm telling you, this as I walk with my father's dog, not to ease his mind, but mine. You would think the scariest thing you can hear in the forest is the growl of a predator, but on this particular June night, it's the horrid sobbing that breaks the silence beyond that chain link fence. I saw this homeless man begging for 500 candles, and that week it was one of those gloomy weeks. People just seemed so grumpy, and I guess at the time there were news of terrorism and economic disaster. People were not feeling cheerful or in the giving mood. They were literally staring at the homeless man thinking he was some weirdo asking for 500 candles. I mean, they would rather him ask for money, as that was more normal and sane. I then saw him going into shops and begging for 500 candles, and he was kicked out straight away. I definitely found it strange how a homeless man wanted 500 candles. I mean, they usually want money or food, and what would 500 candles benefit him? Some people shouted at him and telling him to earn money to buy his own 500 candles. He seemed really desperate for just a bunch of candles. That following week, I kept seeing him asking and begging for candles, but people kept on walking. I thought I would go up to him and ask him about his obsession with 500 candles. When I went up to him and I looked at him with desperate eyes, he kept on asking me for 500 candles. Now, I would have given him money. He then said that he doesn't care about the money and candles need to be given, not bought. I didn't understand the rules he was following, and he didn't really care about the money. He was resistant about the reasons why he wanted 500 candles, and nothing under or over. His specific fascination with 500 candles really got me going. He became more and more desperate as the week reached its middle journey. His voice was louder now, and more desperate, and he kept on shouting, 500 candles, someone, give me 500 candles. He could have got government benefits for being homeless and jobless for many years, but he didn't want the money as he didn't want to buy 500 candles, but had to be given. I didn't want to give him 500 candles at first because I was scared that I might end up in some bad situation. I mean, a man begging for 500 candles, which had to be freely given and not bought, was too weird for me at first. I saw people looking at him strangely and giving him bad insults for his strange request. We don't live in a world where things are freely given. It didn't matter if it was candles, but I guess the morals behind the freely given candles. Money was the way things were connected in our society, not free giving. Charity is not in our good books anymore. Then, on the last day of that week, I decided to buy a pack of 500 candles, and I saw that man shouting for 500 candles. I went over to him, and I hugged him, and I gave him 500 candles. I didn't care what his intentions were, and I didn't care for an explanation. The smile on his face was one of the best ever seen. It was like I had saved him. I then asked him what his struggle was about.
My mother's birthday. The candles must reflect her actual age. It must come from the heart and from kindness, as that helps her live on,
he told me. Then one day I received a knock on the door, and it was a note on the floor. It said that the packet I gave him with 500 candles in them had a hole in them, and one fell out, which I didn't notice. His mother died, and he blames me now. He also sent me 50 candles for my own mother, and in his own words in the written note it said, "This is to start you off." And I remembered my mother is 50 years old next month.